North Sumatra, a sign of God's love given with full affection, a piece of heaven attached to the earth, home of the world's largest ancient volcanic lake that holds 1,000 legends and mysteries, a land for diverse cultural conformity where civilizations live in harmony, a place of dignified tolerance where the seeds of hope are planted, grown, and reaped for prosperity. The genuine miniature of Indonesia.
By declaring the tagline transformation towards the ultimate, Universitas Sumatera Utara is ready to transform into an international standards university with excellent local characteristics. I am Murianto Amin, presenting you Universitas Sumatera Utara.
Starting from Universitas Sumatera Utara Foundation, which collected moral and material support from the people of North Sumatra and Aceh, on August 20th, 1952, the Faculty of Medicine was successfully established. USU was inaugurated as the 7th state university in Indonesia by the first president of the Republic of Indonesia, Sukarno, on November 20th, 1957. Located in Medan City, North Sumatra, USU consists of 2 campuses located in Jalan Dr. Mansur and Kuala Bekala. USU has 15 faculties, 1 graduate school with 163 study programs, and 1 experimental garden covering an area of 300 hectares located in the Tambunan area, Langkat Regency. USU has the vision of becoming a university that has academic excellence as a barometer of scientific advancement that can contend in the global world. Carrying a new spirit, transformation towards the ultimate supports the entire USU academic community to make significant changes to their mindset and work culture per the demands of bureaucratic reform and technological acceleration. Transformation towards the ultimate is indicated by a series of transformations in various sectors. The transformation is realized through collaboration and synergy between the academic community and various parties to create excellent higher education services implemented through Tridharma. Campus digitization is an absolute must to provide the best service. Various digital services are provided by USU, such as ASA, e-office, e-agenda, PPID, and also telemedicine. Telemedicine provides easy access for medical treatment to the public through their gadgets. USU has received an A accreditation and is included in Cluster 1 of the Indonesian Ministry of Education and Culture 2020 rankings and ranked 15th university in Indonesia by the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings. USU has also established itself as a part of the international education community. USU is ranked first nationally and ranked 305th in the world in the field of agriculture and biological science at the university level by the Skimago Institutions rankings. In addition, USU is ranked 1201 plus in the world with QS Stars 3 on the Quacquarelli Simmons World University Rankings 2022 rating agency. As a commercial university, USU is committed to encouraging research to create an USU enterprise by establishing the Institute of Innovation and Business Technology Incubation, or LINCS. LINCS is a place for innovation and research products of USU's academic community to make contributions to society. Some of these innovative products are being prepared for mass production by cooperating with the industrial world and other universities as the implementation of the Merdeka Belajar Campus Merdeka program. Merdeka Belajar Campus Merdeka program is a manifestation of learning by combining theoretical and practical aspects to create excellent human resources. USU collaborates with various partners, from the state-owned company to the government sector, with the aim of creating graduates who are ready and able to follow the needs of the industry and the market. To support comprehensive learning, USU provides integrated facilities. Various facilities available include USU Hospital, Dental and Oral Hospital, Integrated Laboratory, Student Workshop, Auditorium, Student Center, Pancasila Building, International Guest House, Cafeteria, Student Dormitory, Garden, and various sports facilities.
The spirit of transformation towards the ultimate within the scope of the Tridharma is a manifestation of USU's commitment to produce excellent human resources for the advance of Indonesia.
USU believes that the contribution of all parties is the main key in the effort to transform to be superior. USU, the pride of North Sumatra for Indonesia, transforming to be the best in the world.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. May I have your attention, please? The summer course today will be begun soon. Please kindly adjusting your display name according to the guidelines, that is name, course institution. Please turn your camera on and mute your microphone. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to repeat once again, please kindly adjusting your display name according to the guidelines, that is name _ institution. And to all of you, all the participants, please turn your camera on and mute your microphone. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eva Syafitri Nasution, the moderator of today's lecture. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome you at this occasion. I would like to welcome our speaker, Dr. Maria Kaban. Good morning, Dr. Maria Kaban. Selamat pagi. And then I would like to welcome our interpreter today. That is Mrs. Romondang Bulan Lubis SOS MSI. Good morning, Mrs. Romondang. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic our today lecture is the implementation of Rakutsi Telu and some issues in Karo. Before Dr. Maria Kaban will present the topic, I will introduce her first and read the curriculum vitae. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker's name is Dr. Maria Kaban. She was born in Kutacane, 25th December 1960. She is a lecturer in Faculty of Law, Universitas Sumatera Utara. Her office and phone number of the office here. She lives in Jalan Organ number 21, Pasar Baru, Padang Bulan, Medan, also in Royal Sumatra Resident. Here is the phone number, but better you can contact her by the email. Here is the email. mariakabans@yahoo.com. Ladies and gentlemen, her formal education were graduate from USU in 1985, Magister of Law in 2005, and also graduate from PhD in Universitas Sumatera Utara. Ladies and gentlemen, the experience visited abroad has been done, such as visiting in the library, in Dutch, Belgium, French, and then to the Washington, D.C., USA to have an occasion about educating and equipping tomorrow justice reformer in 2015. She also a researcher. She already conduct the research in alternative dispute resolution, especially in Karo and other research. You can see how many research that she has done. There are some journal and book that is published, and Dr. Maria Kaban become the speaker also in some seminar and workshop. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before the presenting start, let me tell you how the presentation will go. First, Dr. Maria Kaban will present the material, and after that, there will be a question and answer session, followed by conclusion. The answer and question session, you can ask the question directly by tapping raising hand icon, or you can write your question in the chat box. Ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to welcome our speaker, Dr. Maria Kaban, to make her presentation. Dr. Maria Kaban, the floor is yours.
Terima kasih kepada moderator yang sudah menyampaikan kurikulum PT saya. Selamat pagi buat kita semua. Selamat pagi yang hadir melalui ruang Zoom maupun yang hadir di dalam ruangan ini. Pertama-tama marilah kita mengucapkan puji dan syukur kehadiran Tuhan yang Maha Kuasa. Atas berkat rahmat-Nya lah kita bisa berkumpul pada pagi hari ini dalam keadaan sehat sejahtera.
Thank you very much, first of all, for the moderator, for introducing myself and also for reading my curriculum today. And also, I would like to greet all the participants, ladies and gentlemen, and all the audience who have attended in this summer course, both in Zoom meeting and also for those who are attending in this room. And I would like also to say my grateful to God Almighty for giving us all the help and also giving us and allow us to be here this morning and attending this summer course this morning.
Terima kasih. Adapun materi yang saya sampaikan pada hari ini, baik kita mulai ya, kita mulai. Adapun materi yang saya sampaikan pada hari ini adalah tidak terlepas dari alternatif dispute resolution Rakut Sitelu in Karo.
Okay, let's just start our topic for today, and the topic for today is the similar topic, and it's still strongly related with the alternative dispute resolution Rakut Sitelu in Karo.
Karena kenapa saya bilang tidak terlepas? Karena materi ataupun topik yang saya sampaikan Rakut Sitelu dan beberapa isu terkait Rakut Sitelu di Karo.
The reason why I say this is strongly related because it is still related with the previous topics, and the topic that I would like to convey for today is the implementation of Rakut Sitelu and some issues related to Rakut Sitelu in Karo.
Perlu juga saya sampaikan bahwa saya adalah pembicara terakhir tentang topik yang sudah disampaikan tadi, yaitu tentang alternative dispute resolution, karena di sebelumnya ada dua pembicara yang telah lebih dahulu membicarakan tentang topik ini.
And I also would like to say that I will be the last speaker in regarding conveying the topic, because like I said, this topic regarding alternative dispute resolution of Rakut Sitelu has been conveyed or presented before by the two previous speakers, and it is also still related with the alternative dispute resolution, and I am going to talk about the implementation of Rakut Sitelu and some issues related to the Rakut Sitelu in Karo.
Oleh karenanya, barangkali nanti ada hal-hal yang mungkin merasa terulang ataupun mungkin ada penambahan, inilah yang mau saya kemukakan pada hari ini. Jadi mohon maaf apabila nanti mungkin merasa ada yang terulang atau berulang yang saya ataupun yang sudah disampaikan.
So the reason why I really want to say this, because maybe in my presentation there will be some redundancy or some repeat statement or information that you have heard before, and also maybe there are also some additional information. So that is why I would like to apologize and also would like to very clear up in advance that there may be redundancy and some repeating information regarding this topic.
Baik, saya kembali ke topik yang seharusnya saya sampaikan, yaitu penerapan Rakut Sitelu dan beberapa isu terkait Rakut Sitelu di Karo.
Okay, let's just start, and I will start right away with my topic, which is the implementation of Rakut Sitelu and some issues related to Rakut Sitelu in Karo.
Hal-hal yang akan disampaikan pada pagi hari ini sehubungan dengan topik yang saya sampaikan, antara lain sengketa, cara penyelesaian sengketa di luar pengadilan, runggun, sangkep nggeluh, rakut si telu, dan bermuara kepada the implementation of rakut si telu and some issue in Karo.
The topics or some topics that I would like to convey for today are the dispute resolution methods, out of court dispute resolution or non-litigation, runggun, sangkep geluh, rakut si telu, and of course it will estuary and it will go and lead to the implementation of rakut si telu and some issues in Karo.
Sekarang perlu kita ketahui apa itu sengketa. Sengketa adalah merupakan perbedaan kepentingan antar individu atau lembaga pada objek yang sama yang dimanifestasikan dalam hubungan di antara mereka.
Okay, let me start first of all with the definition of dispute. Dispute is the situation and condition where people experience factual dispute with each other and also with some institution, as well as the dispute exists in their perception only.
Memang banyak pengertian tentang sengketa, tetapi bolehlah diambil satu kesimpulan bahwa sengketa atau konflik adalah situasi atau keadaan di mana kedua belah pihak telah terjadi perbedaan kepentingan, pendapat yang berujung terjadi ketidaksepahaman. Ketidaksepahaman tadi bisa dalam hal bisnis, tanah, batas wilayah, keluarga, dan lain-lain.
Okay, there may be a lot of definition of dispute, but we can make a conclusion of what is dispute, and it is the situation or condition where people experience factual dispute, and there are some differences in opinion or disagreement, and also between two parties regarding a certain issues at a certain time or at a certain time or circumstance, and it could be regarding with the land, opinion, and it is manifested in their relationship between them.
Baik, kalau tadi kita sudah mengetahui apa itu sengketa dan kesimpulannya, maka dicarilah solusinya. Bagaimana cara penyelesaian sengketanya? Cara penyelesaian sengketanya ada dua, yaitu melalui lembaga litigasi dan melalui lembaga non-litigasi atau disebut dengan penyelesaian sengketa di luar pengadilan.
Now we have no solve this dispute. There are two ways in resolving the dispute, such as through litigation and institution or through the court. And the other way is through non-litigation or outside of the court. And the two ways resolving the dispute above, we can also try to find a solution so that we can have a dispute resolution in regards with the dispute.
Dari dua cara penyelesaian sengketa yang sudah disampaikan, maka kita fokus kepada cara penyelesaian sengketa di luar pengadilan. Cara penyelesaian sengketa di luar pengadilan sering juga disebut dengan cara penyelesaian secara alternatif.
Now we know there are two ways of resolving the dispute. We are focusing on the second way, which is the resolving dispute outside of the court or non-litigation resolution, dispute resolution, and this is called or known as the alternative dispute resolution.
Mengapa kita fokus kepada cara penyelesaian kedua atau cara penyelesaian sengketa di luar pengadilan? Tentu ada banyak pertimbangan yang dipikirkan. Antara lain, kalau diselesaikan melalui lembaga litigasi, sering kita dengar, satu, penyelesaian sengketa lambat, memakan waktu yang panjang, biaya perkara mahal, tidak menyelesaikan masalah secara tuntas, menimbulkan permasalahan, mengalami stres berkepanjangan, dan pengadilan tidak bersih dari atau tidak pernah lepas dari KKN, kolusi, korupsi, dan nepotisme.
The reason why we are focusing on the second ways or the second method, which is the outside court dispute resolution, is because if we only counting on the court resolve resolution, there are some problems with it, which is it will take time. Dispute resolution can be slow, takes a long time, and also expensive court fees. Also, another reason does not solve the problem completely, causes another problem, and also experiences prolonged stress and costs, and also the dispute resolution through court normally are not free from corruption, collusion, and nepotism.
Di Karo, garis miring Kabupaten Karo, secara umum cara penyelesaian sengketa yang dilaksanakan di luar pengadilan dilakukan melalui runggun yang dihadiri oleh sang penggeluh dan yang dilaksanakan oleh Rakut Sitelu.
So in general, the method of dispute resolution in Karo, or we know as Karo Regency, is carried out outside the court through runggun, which is attended by Sangkep Gelu and also carried out by Rakut Sitelu.
Kenapa saya sampaikan ada di Karo dan garis miring Kabupaten Karo? Karena Karo itu luas. Kalau Mitra Karo, ada Karo di Kabupaten Karo, yaitu di dataran tinggi Karo, dan Karo ada di dataran rendah, yaitu termasuk Karo Langkat dan Karo Deli Serdang. Oleh karenanya Karo itu terbagi atas Karo Gugung, itu ada di Kabupaten Karo, dan Karo Langkat dan Karo Deli Serdang ada di dataran tinggi rendah.
The reason why I say Karo or Karo Regency, because Karo is a very wide area, and we have known that in Karo there are highland of Karo, and also there's like lowland of Karo, and in this lowland it is separated or it is called with Langkat, Karo Langkat, and also Deli Serdang. So that is why if we want to say Karo, it is in Gugun or in highland, and also there's another Karo in lowland, or what we call Karo Langkat, and also Karo Deli Serdang.
Jadi kalau Karo dari dataran tinggi disebut dengan Karo Gugung, dan Karo di dataran rendah disebut dengan Karo Jahe.
So in the highland of Karo, it is called Karo Gugung, and if it's in the lowland, it's called Karo Jahe.
Baiklah, saya lanjutkan. Sesuai dengan cara penyelesaian sengketa yang dilaksanakan di luar pengadilan di Karo, ya, di Karo, yang dilakukan melalui runggun dan dihadiri oleh Sangkep Gelu yang dilaksanakan oleh Rakut Sitelu, maka saya membahas lebih dahulu apa itu runggun.
Okay, so that is why we are going to talk about the alternative dispute resolution through a runggun, which is attended by Sangkep Gelu and also carried out by Rakut Sitelu. So first of all, let me explain to you about what is runggun.
Runggun adalah model sistem komunikasi dalam bermusyawarah untuk mengambil satu keputusan.
Runggun is one way of communication system model in deliberation to make decision.
Runggun terbagi atas satu runggun kuta, runggun kesain, disebut juga dengan runggun urung, runggun sibaya, dan runggun sibaya berempat. Runggun ini pada dasarnya sudah tidak dipakai lagi dalam menyelesaikan masalah.
Runggun is divided into runggun kuta or runggun kesain, and also it is known as runggun urung, runggun sibaya, and runggun sibaya. There are four, which are no longer used in solving problem or solving disputes.
Dua, runggun keluarga. Runggun ini masih dipakai sampai saat ini dan umumnya runggun ini sering dipakai dalam acara nereh empo, penguburan, kemudian pindah rumah, perceraian, dan juga dalam menyelesaikan masalah.
There is another way of runggun which is called a family runggun, and this family runggun is generally used in nereh empo, burials, moving houses, divorces, changing names, and also in solving problems or dispute resolution.
Runggun dalam masyarakat Karo mempunyai makna yang luas. Tidak hanya digunakan untuk menyelesaikan masalah saja, tetapi juga dalam penggunaannya yang lain.
Runggun in Karonese people, runggun has a broad meaning, and it is not only used to dispute resolution or solve problems, but it's also used in other purposes such as and it's also used for other purposes.
Oleh karena itu, runggun sebagai lembaga penyelesaian sengketa antar masyarakat adat Karo tetap memiliki susunan yang sama, yaitu ada bubu, anak bubu, dan yang diwujudkan dalam konsep tangkep si telu atau rakut si telu.
So, like I said, that runggun also has another purposes. So that is why runggun is also used as an institution for dispute resolution between the Karonese people and also for other purpose. And it still has the same structure, namely the presence of kalimbubu, anak beru, and it's also embedded in the concept of sangket si telu or rakut si telu. Okay, we have just briefly talked about what is runggun. Now let us talk about what is tangkep ngegeluh.
Sekarang geluh adalah sistem kekeluargaan yang mengikat individu Karo dan yang dimiliki orang Karo sebagai saudara terdekat mereka yang diambil dari keturunan ayah dan ibu.
Sangkep ngegeluh is a kinship system that binds Karonese individuals, and it is owned by the Karonese people as their closest relatives taken from the descendants of the father and also from mother.
Sangkep ngegeluh terdiri dari merga silima, tutur siwalu, rakut si telu, perkadekaden 10-2 tambah sada.
Sangkep ngegeluh consists of marga silema, tutur siwalu, rakut sitelu, perkadekadean, 10 plus sada.
Marga silima terdiri dari karo-karo, ginting, sembiring, tarigan, dan perangin angin.
And marga silema consists of karo-karo, ginting, sembiring, tarigan, and perangin angin.
Dari kelima merga tersebut di atas masih terdapat sub-sub merga antara lain. Kalau ya, si tepu masuk kepada karo-karo. Jadi karo-karo itu submarganya ada si tepu, kaban, barus, dan lain-lain. Demikian seterusnya.
And also from the marga silema consists of karo-karo, ginting, sembiring, perangin angin, and also there are 5 clan. Marga is in English it's called clan and mentioned above, and there are sub-clan which is like Sitepu, and it is sub-clan of karo-karo, kaban, barus, and etc. and others.
Merga itu sendiri adalah darah yang diwariskan oleh orang tua kepada anak-anaknya, baik laki-laki dan perempuan.
Marga or clan or family name itself is the blood inherited by their parents, by father, to their children, both son and daughter.
Tutur Siwaluh terdiri dari
Tutur Siwaluh consists of
Sembuya, Senina, Senina si Pemeren, Senina si Paribanen, anak beru menteri, Kalimbubu, dan Puang Kalimbubu.
Consists of Sembuyak, Senina, Sinina si Pemeren, Sinina si Paribanen, anak beru or son of beru, anak beru, Kalimbubu, and Puang Kalimbubu.
Sedangkan tertutur itu sendiri adalah proses untuk perkenalan atau mengenalkan seseorang untuk menentukan hubungan dalam tingkat kekerabatan pada masyarakat Karo, dalam upacara adat maupun dalam kehidupan sehari-hari.
Meanwhile, tutur itself is a process for introducing someone to determine the relationship in the level of kinship in the Karonese people in traditional ceremonies and in daily life.
Ini ada bagan, kira-kira di sinilah letaknya kalau mau kita lihat lebih jelas. Tapi penjelasannya sudah dijelaskan sebelumnya.
So this is the chart to make it clear about what I have just said. So the explanation for these charts have been mentioned earlier by me just now.
Demikian juga tentang tutur Siwaluh yang sudah disampaikan sebelumnya. Jadi kalau tutur itu ada 8, di dalam bagan ini sudah ada dan telah dijelaskan penjelasannya sebelumnya.
And so that's the tutur. So the tutur, there are 8 charts in here. And as you can see, this chart, it's just been explained earlier by my previous presentation.
Tutur Siwaluh akan memunculkan perkadekaden 10-2 tambah sada. Perkadekaden 10-2 tambah sada berasal dari kata perkadekaden, artinya hubungan persaudaraan secara struktur sosial.
And also there are tutur perkadekadean, and the tutur perkadekadean is 10 to at 1, and this is derived from the word perkadekadean, which means the fraternal relationship in social structure. 10 to plus 1 means there are 12 types of fraternal relationship in social structure.
10-2 tambah sada artinya terdapat 12 jenis hubungan persaudaraan
relation in social structure, and added 1 is defined as the outsider who comes into the system of the social structure of the Karonese people.
Adapun 10-2 perkadekaden itu adalah 1 bulang atau kakek, 2 nini atau nenek, 3 bapak atau ayah, nande atau ibu, bengkila sebutan untuk suami dari saudara perempuan ayah, bibi sebutan untuk saudara perempuan ayah, mama sebutan untuk saudara pria dari ibu, kemudian mami sebutan untuk istri dari saudara laki-laki ibu, impang sebutan untuk anak dari mama, silih sebutan untuk suami dari saudara perempuan, dari kita kepada anak dari saudara laki-laki dari istri maupun impal kita. Tapi bisa juga digunakan untuk memanggil istri dari anak kita yang laki-laki, dan terakhir bere sebutan untuk anak dari saudara perempuan.
Okay, the 10 to perkadekadean are bulang, which is grandfather, Nini, grandmother, father, or Papa is father, Nande is mother, Bengkila, it's a term of the husband of father's sister, Bibi is a term for father's sister, Mama is a term for a brother from a mother, and also Mami, that name for the wife of the mother's brother, Impal, the name of the child of the mother, Silih, the name for the husband of the sister, Perman. Perman is the call from us to the child of the brother or our wife or our Impal, but can also use to address the wife of our son. And Berbere is the name for the daughter of our sister.
Jadi sebagai inti dari perkade-kaden itu adalah merupakan suatu hal yang sangat penting dalam sistem kekerabatan Karo.
So as the core of the perkade-kadean, it is very important for the thing in system of Karo kinship of perkade-kadean.
Karena di dalam perkade-kaden 12 tambah sada ini merupakan dari panggilan dan juga tingkatan dalam suatu keluargaan di dalam masyarakat Karo.
Because in this 12 added sada perkade-kadean, it is from the calling and also the level in the family within the Karo tribe or Karonese people.
Di sini ada bagan juga adalah merupakan ringkasan dari yang sudah disampaikan. Ini ada 12 ditambah 1, dia orang luar dan disebut juga selalu dengan teman meriah.
And this is the chart for what I have just explained to you. And this chart summarizes the terms that I have mentioned. And this is the summary of the brief, which is the 12 plus 1. Plus 1 on the right is the external or the outsider. And normally it is called teman or teman meriah.
Tentang Rakut Sitelu.
About the Rakut Sitelu.
Rakut Sitelu adalah salah satu unsur yang ada dalam konsep Sangkep Nggeluh, yang fungsinya untuk menentukan kedudukan seseorang dalam bersosial dan berbudaya ke dalam 3 kategori.
Rakut Sitelu is one of the elements in the Sangkep Nggeluh concept, whose concept is the function of this concept is to determine the person's social and cultural position into 3 categories.
Yaitu Sukut, Kalimbubu, dan Anak Beru, atau sering juga disebut Kalimbubu, Sembuya, Senina, dan Anak Beru.
These 3 categories are commonly called as or commonly known as Sukut, Kalimbubu, and Anak Beru, or also often called as Kalimbubu, Sembuyak or Senina, and Anak Beru.
Rakut Sitelu atau sering disebut dengan ikatan yang 3, karena Sitelu itu adalah 3, secara harafiah berarti ikatan yang 3.
Rakut Sitelu, or it calls like 3 ties, because Rakut is binds or ties, and Sitelu is 3, so literally means 3 ties.
Rakut Sitelu memiliki arti bahwa setiap individu Karo tidak lepas dari keluarganya.
So Rakut Sitelu means that each individual of Karonese people cannot be separated from its family.
Rakut Sitelu kadang-kadang juga disebut dengan Dalikan Sitelu.
Rakut Sitelu is sometimes called or known as Dalikan Sitelu.
Jadi unsur-unsur dalam Rakut Sitelu adalah ada Kalimbubu, Sukut Sembuyak Senina, dan Anak Beru.
So the elements in Rakut Sitelu are Kalimbubu, Sukut Sembuyak or Senina, and Anak Beru or son of Beru.
Setiap orang Karo dapat berlaku baik sebagai Kalimbubu, senina atau semboyak, atau sebagai anak beru. Hal ini tergantung pada situasi dan kondisi saat itu.
Each of Karunis person can act as either kalimbubu, senina or sembuyak, or anak beru. This depends on the situation and condition at the time.
Di sini ada bagan yang saya tampilkan. Beginilah kira-kira situasi dan kondisi ketika Rakut Sitelu itu beracara.
So this is the chart that shows you how the situation and condition on how Rakut Sitelu take role or plays a role in an event or in a ceremony.
Sekarang apa itu kalimbubu? Bagian dari Rakut Sitelu di atas tadi.
It is highly respected in the Karunis kinship system.
Orang Karo meyakini bahwa kalimbubu adalah pembawa berkat. Kalimbubu disebut juga dengan dibatan indah, yang kelihatan.
Karunis people believe that kalimbubu is a bearer of blessing, and also kalimbubu is called as dibata niida, or translation means the visible God.
Sikap menentang dan menyakiti hati kalimbubu sangat dicela dan tidak diperkenankan.
The attitude of opposing and hurting the heart of kalimbubu is highly reproached, and it is not allowed.
Dalam setiap jamuan makan, pihak kalimbubu selalu mendapat prioritas utama.
In every banquet or in every ceremony or an event, kalimbubu always gets top priority.
Para anak beru tidak akan berani mendahului kalimbubu memulainya.
Anak beru or son of beru will not dare to get ahead or to get started with the meal prior or before the kalimbubu begins.
Demikian juga bila selesai makan, pihak anak beru tidak akan berani menutup piringnya sebelum pihak kalimbubu selesai makan.
Likewise, the anak beru, if they have finished eating, the anak beru will not dare to close their plate or to turn their plate before the kalimbubu has finished eating.
Bila ini tidak ditaati, para anak beru dianggap tidak sopan.
And if they don't obey this, the anak beru is considered impolite or disrespectful.
Dalam hal memberi nasihat, semua nasihat yang diberikan kalimbubu dalam suatu musyawarah keluarga menjadi masukan yang harus dihormati dan dihargai.
In terms of giving advice, all advice given by kalimbubu in a family meeting or in a family ceremony becomes an input, and that must be respected and appreciated.
Kalimbubu adalah dihormati oleh anak berunya, dapat memberikan perintah atau nasihat kepada pihak anak berunya.
The rights of kalimbubu in the structure of they can give order and they can give advice, and that advice is well respected and obeyed by the anak beru.
Menerima ulu emas, bere atau merupakan bagian dari tukur atau mahar dari sebuah perkawinan, dan manoh-manoh atau tanda mata atau kenang-kenangan dari salah seorang anggota anak berunya yang meninggal.
They are entitled to receive ulu mas bere-bere or part of dowry and from marriage, and also mane-mane, it is a memories or a mementos from a member of the beru who have died.
Dan kewajiban Kalimbubu antara lain memberikan saran-saran kalau diminta oleh anak berunya.
Duties and responsibilities of Kalimbubu. Some duties and obligation of Kalimbubu are giving suggestions or opinion if requested by the anak beru.
Menjaga perdamaian antar anak beru yang saling berselisih.
Maintain peace between anak beru who have disputes and maintain peacefulness among them.
Sebagai lambang supremasi kehormatan keluarga.
As the symbol of the supremacy of family honor.
Menguasai anak berunya atau meminjamkan dan menggunakan pakaian adat di dalam acara-acara adat.
Taking care of his anak beru, such as borrowing and wearing traditional clothes in the traditional ceremony or in the traditional event.
Sekarang senina dan sembuya. Senina adalah hubungan kekerabatan berdasarkan marga yang sama.
Now we talk about senina and sembuyak. Senina is the kinship based on the same clan or same family name or marga.
Senina dapat dibagi dua, yaitu
senina can be divided into two, namely
senina berdasarkan tutur, yaitu mereka yang bersaudara karena satu marga.
Senina based on the tutur or speech, and they are namely like that because they are come from the same brothers, because they have the same clan or same family name.
Senina berdasarkan kekerabatan, yaitu satu, senina si paribanan, senina si pemeren, dan senina si pengalon atau sendalanan.
And also there are senina based on the kinship, namely senina si paribaran, senina si pemeren, and also senina si pengalong atau senina sendalanen.
Tugas senina adalah memimpin pembicaraan dalam musyawarah.
The obligation or duty of senina is to lead the conversation or discussion in the deliberation.
Tugas lainnya adalah sebagai sekat dalam pembicaraan adat.
Another task of senina is to act as the barrier of or a mediator in the customary talks.
Agar tidak terjadi friksi-friksi ketika akan memusyawarahkan pekerjaan yang akan didelegasikan kepada anak beru.
So as the bridge of this customary talk, their job is to make sure there is no friction when discussing the work that will be delegated to anak beru.
Sembuya adalah mereka yang satu bere atau satu perut.
Sembuya are those who are together or like they come from the same womb.
Sembuya hanya berlaku untuk laki-laki karena perempuan mengikuti suaminya.
Sembuyak only applies to men or only applies to male because women follow their husband.
Peranan sembuyak adalah bertanggung jawab kepada setiap upacara adat.
The role of sembuyak is to be responsible for every traditional ceremony.
Sembuyak dapat dibagi dua, yaitu
sembuyak can be divided into two parts, namely
yaitu satu, sembuyak berdasarkan tutur karena mereka bersaudara karena satu marga.
First one is the sembuyak based on the tutur or based on speech because they are brother, because once again because they are from the same clan.
Sembuyak berdasarkan kekerabatan yaitu terdiri dari.
And another part of sembuyak is sembuyak based on the kinship, and they can be divided into
1 sembuyak nini, 2 sembuyak bapa, dan ketiga sembuyak nande.
They can be divided into one. The first one is sembuyak nini, second one is sembuyak father, and the third one is sembuyak nande.
Terakhir kena bro, karena rakut sitelu tadi ada 3, kalimbubu sudah disampaikan, kemudian sembuyak senina juga sudah, dan sekarang anak beru.
The last part of rakut sitelu is anak beru, because like I mentioned earlier, rakut sitelu consists of 3 parts, which are kalimbubu, I've explained that, and also sembuyak or senina, and I've also mentioned that before. Now we'll talk about the anak beru or son of beru.
Anak beru adalah pihak pengambil perempuan atau penerima perempuan untuk diperistri.
Anak beru is the party taking women or receiving women for wife.
Anak beru disebut pula sebagai hakim moral karena bila terjadi perselisihan dalam keluarga kalimbubunya, tugasnya lah mendamaikan perselisihan tersebut.
Anak beru is also considered or called as a moral judge because whenever there is a dispute in the family and in his kalimbubu family, it is the duty and obligation of anak beru to reconcile the dispute.
Tugas dan kewajiban anak beru dalam pelaksanaan acara adat sangat dibutuhkan.
Duty and obligation of anak beru in the implementation of traditional event or traditional ceremony is highly crucial.
Antara lain mengatur jalannya pembicaraan runggu atau musyawarah adat.
Some of their duties are organizing the course of traditional runggu talks or the deliberation.
Menyiapkan hidangan pada pesta.
Prepare food for the party.
Menyiapkan peralatan yang diperlukan pesta.
Prepare the necessary equipments or tools for the party or ceremony.
Menanggulangi sementara semua biaya pesta.
Temporarily cover all party expenses or they pay first in advance.
Mengawasi semua harta milik kalimbubunya, yaitu wajib menjaga dan mengetahui harta benda kalimbubunya.
Supervising all the properties of his kalimbubu, and also they are obligated to maintain and to know the property of his kalimbubu.
Menjadwal pertemuan keluarga.
Making schedule the family gathering.
Memberi kabar kepada para keluarga yang lain bila ada pihak kalimbubunya yang berduka cita.
Give news to other relatives if there are those who are saddened by the kalimbubu or if there are sad news among the kalimbubu.
Memberi pesan kepada puang kalimbubunya agar membawa ose atau pakaian adat bagi kalimbubunya.
Give message or sending a message to his puang kalimbubu to bring ose. Ose is the traditional clothes for his kalimbubu.
Menjadi juru damai bagi pihak kalimbubunya.
Also, be a peacemaker for their kalimbubu party.
Yang menjadi hak-hak anak beru antara lain.
The rights of anak berus are
berhak mengawini putri kalimbubunya dan biasanya para kalimbubu tidak berhak menolaknya.
They have the rights to marry the daughter of their kalimbubu, and usually the kalimbubu have no rights to refuse this.
Mendapat pinjaman tanah perladangan secara cuma-cuma dari kalimbubunya.
Get a free farming land loaned by the kalimbubu.
Mendapatkan hak untuk mengambil hasil hutan.
And also they have the rights to obtain the rights to extract forest products.
Oleh karena banyaknya tugas dan fungsi pokok anak berunya, maka oleh karena itu beru diberikan istilah-istilah kepada anak berunya.
Because there are such duty and obligation and also task of anak beru, so Kalim Bubu gives some terms or some names for the anak beru.
Adapun istilah-istilah yang diberikan Kalim Bubu kepada anak berunya adalah
the terms that are given to anak beru by their Kalim Bubu are:
satu, sebagai tumpak perang atau lembah-lembah.
First one is as tumpak war, or known in the language is lemba-lemba.
Tumpak perang adalah ujung tombak.
Tumpak war or tumpak perang, or in translation is tumpak war, is the spearhead.
Maksud dari tumpak perang adalah bila Kalim Bubunya ingin pergi ke satu daerah,
so the purpose or the meaning of tumpak war or tumpak perang is whenever the Kalim Bubu wants to go to one area,
maka yang berada di depan sebagai pengaman jalan,
so the person who are in front or as the road safety is,
dan sebagai perisai dari bahaya,
and also take a role as the shield from the danger,
adalah anak
kuda dalan or horse dalan, or horse as the road of the horse, like horse burden.
Dahulu sebelum ada alat transportasi modern, kuda digunakan sebagai sarana atau transportasi.
In the past, before there was a modern means of transportation, horses are commonly used as the means of transportation.
Kuda tersebut digunakan pula untuk membawa barang-barang.
And that horses were also used to carry goods.
Selain itu, kuda juga digunakan untuk menyampaikan informasi dari satu desa ke desa yang lain.
Horses were also used to convey information from one village to another village.
Arti kuda dalam istilah ini adalah alat atau kendaraan yang dipakai kemana saja.
So, this horse means as a means of transportation that is used and also to be carried to anywhere where it's needed.
Termasuk untuk berperang,
including to go to war.
Untuk membawa barang-barang yang diperlukan.
And also to carry goods for necessity.
Yang diperlukan oleh Kalim Bubunya.
And all those are required and needed by the Kalim Bubu.
Atau untuk menyampaikan berita tentang Kalim Bubunya.
And also this can be used to convey news about its Kalim Bubu.
Oleh karenanya anak beru itu disebut sebagai kuda dalan.
That is why anak beru is called or known as kuda dalan or horse dalan.
Sebagai istilah yang ketiga adalah pisau entelap atau pisau yang tajam.
Another term given to anak beru as the pisau entelap or means sharp knife.
Dalam acara-acara adat, pisau tajam dipergunakan untuk memotong daging atau kayu api.
In the traditional ceremonies, the sharp knives are used to cut meat or to cut firewood.
Pisau ini digunakan juga untuk mendirikan tempat berkumpul.
This knife is also can be used to establish a gathering place.
Setiap anak beru harus memiliki pisau tajam.
So each anak beru must have a sharp knife.
agar tangkas dan sempurna mengerjakan pekerjaan yang diberikan Kalimbubunya.
So that they can be agile and also perfect in doing the work given by his Kalimbubu.
Adat Karo,
in Karonis tradition,
pisau dari pihak Kalimbubu yang meninggal dunia diserahkan kepada anak berunya berupa maneh-maneh.
The knife from the dead or the past, the deceased Kalimbubu is handed over to their anak beru, and it is called maneh-maneh.
Dalam pengertian lain, dalam acara-acara adat di dalam keluarga Kalimbubu,
in another meaning, in the traditional ceremony of the Kalimbubu family,
anak berulah yang menjadi ujung tombak pelaksanaan tugas tersebut.
Anak beru is the person act as the spearhead of the implementation of the task.
Demikianlah istilah-istilah yang diberikan Kalimbubu kepada anak berunya.
Those are the terms given by Kalimbubu to their anak beru.
Rakut Sitelu sebagai unsur sang kepenggeluh yang terdiri dari Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, Senina, dan anak beru.
Rakut Sitelu as the element of Sangkep Ngegeluh, which consists of Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, Senina, and anak beru,
akan berfungsi sebagai alat untuk menyelesaikan masalah.
Will serve or will function as a tool to resolve dispute.
Baik itu yang berhubungan dengan sengketa maupun yang tidak berhubungan dengan sengketa.
They are serve and function as a tool to resolve problems, both problems related to dispute or problems not related to disputes.
Yang berhubungan dengan sengketa antara lain sengketa tanah, sengketa perceraian, sengketa waris, sengketa batas tanah, sengketa perkelahian, dan lain-lain.
Dispute related to problems related to disputes such as land ownership, divorce problems, inheritance, barriers of land, boundaries of lands, and also fighting.
Yang tidak berhubungan dengan sengketa antara lain upacara perkawinan, upacara kematian, upacara erpangir pulau, upacara raleng tendi, dan upacara memasuki rumah baru, tentu banyak lagi lain-lainnya.
And problems related with non-dispute such as wedding ceremony, funerals, reprocessing ulangi, and also raking kendi and housewarming, and also many others.
Oleh karenanya, sebagaimana sudah kita ketahui bahwa Rakut Sitelu itu ya berhubungan Rakut Sitelu melalui anak beru tadi dapat menyelesaikan sengketa maupun yang tidak berhubungan dengan sengketa.
So Rakut Sitelu through the anak baru can resolve problems, both could be problems related with the dispute or problems not related with disputes.
Pelaksanaan dari kegiatan yang dilaksanakan oleh Rakut Sitelu di atas dilaksanakan melalui proses runggu atau model sistem komunikasi dalam bermusyawarah untuk mengambil satu keputusan.
The implementation of Rakut Sitelu consists of it's through the deliberation, and through this deliberation is carried out to make a decision.
Runggu bisa dilaksanakan di rumah salah satu pihak yang punya hajatan, kalau dulu ada balai.
And this runggu can be carried out in one of the place of the customary people and what is called balai.
Pada umumnya apabila tiga unsur dari Rakut Sitelu, Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, dan Anak Beru sudah bermusyawarah, maka akan bermuara kepada musyawarah mufakat dan berujung damai.
And normally, if Rakut Sitelu has taken place and it is done by the deliberation, normally the estuary or it leads to peace, make up to peacefulness, and normally the dispute or problems has been solved.
Muara dari berujung damai ini adalah dilaksanakannya makan bersama antara kedua belah pihak yang bersengketa, dihadiri sanak keluarga kedua belah pihak, juga ada tokoh adat. Kalau di Karo disebut dengan purpur sage.
And normally at the end of this peaceful ending is holding with a joint meal between two parties to the dispute and attended by relatives from both parties as the traditional leaders or customary leaders, and it is in Karo, it is called as purpur sage.
Purpur sage kalau di bahasa Indonesia kan adalah seperti rekonsiliasi atau pengampunan kembali, saling memaafkan, saling salam-salaman, dan kalau ada agama bisa bersumpah supaya tidak ada dendam di antara mereka, dan apabila berulang bisa dikutuk Tuhan.
So purpur sage, if it is translated into Indonesian or into English, it is called like reconciliation, and which means forgiving each other. They shake hands, greetings, hugs, and if before there was religion, if they always took oaths, they took an oath and they make a promise, and there should not be any more grudge or grungy between them. And if in the case it happens again or the dispute happens again, they could be cursed by God.
Sekarang inti dari yang mau disampaikan adalah Rakut Sitelu dan beberapa isu atau masalah di Karo serta saran-saran yang bisa disampaikan. Sekarang implementasinya.
Now, we are going to go to the main topic of the implementation of Rakut Sitelu and some issues or problems in Karo, and also some opinion or suggestions. And now we start with the implementation.
Saya ambil kembali bagan yang terdahulu bahwa Rakut Sitelu sebagai unsur sangkep geluh yang terdiri dari Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, dan Anak Beru akan bertugas sebagai alat untuk menyelesaikan masalah, baik itu yang berhubungan dengan sengketa maupun yang tidak berhubungan dengan sengketa.
Now I will get back to the previous chart or the previous slide, which shows that Rakut Sitelu as an element of Sangkep Geluh, which consists of three elements, which are Kalimbubu, Sembuyak or Senina, and Anak Beru. And those will serve or will be function as a tool to resolve problems, both those related to disputes and also problem non-related to disputes.
Yang menjadi pertanyaan adalah apakah pelaksananya masih eksis? Artinya masih tetapkah dilaksanakan?
So the question is, does this Rakut Sitelu still exist? Or the implementation of Rakut Sitelu, does it still apply or applicable in life? Or it still exists? Does it still exist nowadays?
Menurut hasil wawancara yang dilakukan baru-baru ini antara Pengetua Adat Bapak M.U. Sembiring dengan tim wawancara dari Fakultas Hukum USU, bahwa Rakut Sitelu itu masih tetap eksis.
Based on the interview with the traditional or the customary leader and also conducted by the Faculty of Law Universitas Sumatera Utara, this Rakut Sitelu still exists in the Karonese people or in the society.
Yaitu baik dalam menyelesaikan permasalahan yang berbau sengketa maupun yang tidak berbau sengketa seperti yang sudah dijelaskan terlebih dahulu.
And it does still exist to resolve problem according to the Karonese leaders, to resolve problems both in dispute or in non-disputes problems or issues.
Demikian juga berdasarkan hasil pengamatan yang pembicara lakukan, maksudnya saya selama ini bahwa Rakut Sitelu itu tetap eksis.
And also based on the research by the speaker, which is in this case by myself, I did the research, Rakut Sitelu still exists and still applicable and still implemented in the Karonis people.
Dan selalu yang dibicarakan terlebih dahulu, apakah sudah ada atau lengkap Rakut Sitelu?
And the first questions always being asked is whether if there is Rakut Sitelu or have they conduct a Rakut Sitelu.
Apabila dilihat sudah hadir, maka sudah bisa dimulai dengan proses runggu.
And if there is Rakut Sitelu has taken place, then it could be followed by the Runggun or deliberation.
Yang akan membicarakan segala sesuatunya sehubungan dengan pesta yang akan dilaksanakan.
And it will discuss everything in regards with everything that will be conducted.
Sebagai contoh keeksistensi dari Rakut Sitelu,
and as an example of the existence of Rakut Sitelu,
misalnya antara lain ada acara sukacita, duka cita, dan perselisihan.
And some of the example are there is a happy event and also some sadness event, and also if there's some disputes.
Sitelu tetap mengambil perannya masing-masing.
Rakut Sitelu still plays roles for each part of it.
Ada satu keunikan, yaitu dalam hal sengketa perselisihan.
But there is one uniqueness in the term of one dispute.
Biasanya apabila sudah selesai runggu dan berujung damai,
normally after runggu has taken place and it's ended with peace,
diadakan acara makan bersama dan salam-salaman.
Normally we will take forgiving each other, and there's a family a gathering and we shake hands.
Di Karo disebut dengan purpur sage seperti yang sudah dijelaskan di atas tadi.
And it is called as in Karonis, it is called as purpur sage, and I have mentioned it prior. I've mentioned it before. But whether Rakut Sitelu has considered still exists, the existence is not absolute exist like it was.
Namun berubah sejalan dengan perkembangan zaman.
It has slightly shifted according to the time changing or time goes by. As time goes by.
Hal ini dapat dilihat pada isu-isu yang timbul sehubungan dengan Rakut Sitelu di Karo.
And we can see this as the issues that are occurring in Karonis people of the Rakut Sitelu.
Beberapa isu atau masalah yang ada di Karo,
some issue or problems that occur in Karo,
yaitu bahwa berdasarkan hasil wawancara dengan tokoh adat Karo, Bapak M.U. Ginting dan tim dari Fakultas Hukum, keadaannya sudah kurang eksis.
So this is based on the interview with the Karo leader, Mr. M.U. Ginting, and he said the existence of this Rakut Sitelu, it's not as absolute or not as the accurate as it was.
Terutama bagi kalangan kaum muda.
Especially in the youth generation.
Karena banyak di antara mereka sudah tidak tahu bagaimana cara bertegur sapa atau orat tutur.
Because some of them they don't know how to make a greeting, and also they don't know how to make a a polite speech or tugar tutu.
Sesuai dengan sifat hukum adat, salah satunya adalah dinamis.
And as the customary law, one of them is the dynamic,
yaitu bergerak sesuai dengan perkembangan zaman,
which means they are moving towards the improvement or the development of the modernization,
mengikuti era modernisasi,
following the modernization.
Maka kedudukan Rakut Sitelu ini juga sudah mengalami perubahan.
So the position of Rakut Sitelu has also been shifted or been transferred.
Dalam hal masalah makan, anak guru sudah berani makan terlebih dahulu dengan alasan sakit lambung.
Such as, for example, in terms of taking meals or having meals, anak guru now are able to eat prior to their alim bubu due to the health or the health reason.
Demikian juga dalam hal memasak dan menyiapkan makanan sudah berubah fungsi.
And that is also applied for the cooking or preparing food, and it has been transformed or has been shifted.
Di mana fungsi anak beru sudah digantikan oleh catering dan masih banyak yang lainnya.
And the role of anak beru, which is supposed to be preparing food, now has been shifted and transformed into a chef or a cook to prepare the meal.
Dengan adanya isu atau masalah yang sudah disampaikan di atas, maka perlu sebenarnya diadakan saran.
So based on the issues that are occurring, this is necessary to make a conclusion, to make suggestions or opinion in regards with these issues.
Antara lain, apabila ada masalah hukum,
so if there's a law issues,
menurut tokoh adat Karo,
according to the Karonese leader,
jangan langsung dibuat pendekatan hukum, lakukan dulu pendekatan secara kekeluargaan.
Please don't take that issue or that problem into law right away, but make sure it is done by the customary law or customary approach first.
Kedua, perlu diadakan musyawarah adat dan melibatkan kaum muda.
And also, now, secondly, it has to make a deliberation to improve and to increase the role of the youth.
Karena mereka sudah banyak yang tidak mengetahui siapa-siapa saja atau unsur-unsur Rakut Sitelu.
Because most of them has no idea, and most of them don't know the elements of Rakut Sitelu and who are the elements of Rakut Sitelu.
Di Karo, apabila ada permasalahan adat,
in Karo itself, if there is a customary problems or customary issue,
minimal perlu melibatkan tokoh-tokoh adat yang tujuannya dilakukan pendekatan secara adat atau kekeluargaan.
The customary leader or the local leader needs to be approached and to be involved so that the approach can be done in the customary approach and customary law.
Penggunaan bahasa Karo perlu digalakkan atau dibudayakan di antara orang tua dan anak-anak.
Also, the language of Karonese tribe language needs to be improved and to be strengthened and also to be maintained among the parents and their children.
Terakhir, perlu dilibatkan penghulu dan kepala desa apabila berhubungan dengan masalah pidana, misalnya masalah narkoba.
And also, last but not least, it is necessary to involve the penghulu or the village head whenever there is criminal matters or criminal issues such as drugs or some other criminal problems.
Sebagai kesimpulan dapat dilihat pada gambar ilustrasi di bawah ini.
And as the conclusion, I can show you and I can conclude that in these two charts or two pictures that you can see on the slide.
Gambar ini saya ambil dari bahan kuliah Bapak Profesor Dr. Runtung. Kalau dari gambar sebelah kiri.
So this picture, I took this image from the lecturer given by Professor Dr. Runtung. And if you can see on the left side of the slide,
kalau dibawa ke musyawarah adat melalui Rakut Sitelu, maka kalau tadi berkelahi, hasilnya adalah berdamai, win-win solution.
And if there is a dispute or problems, and if we take that case with the Rakut Sitelu, first they were fighting, they have argument and dispute, but if with Rakut Sitelu, it will be ended with peacefulness, happy, and win-win solution.
Kalau dibawa ke lembaga litigasi atau pengadilan, masuknya berkelahi, keluar juga tidak menyelesaikan masalah atau win-lose.
And if you see on the right, if there is a case, could be a dispute or an argument, and if we take that case into court or through litigation or inside the court or a litigation court, the case that first was fighting and argument, and it will be ended still fighting, argument, and also it is not win-win solution, but only the outcome is win-lose solution.
Jadi demikian yang bisa saya sampaikan. Ada satu moto yang mau saya sampaikan dari budaya Karo, yaitu Arih Ersada Muat Simehuli. Artinya mari kita bermufakat untuk menghasilkan perdamaian.
So last but not least, I would like to mention a slogan or a motto from Karonese people. It is in the tribe language is Arih Ersada Muat Simuli, which means let us make peaceful, let us work together or discuss to have a peaceful and a good solution for all of us.
Sekian dan terima kasih. Apabila ada hal-hal yang kurang jelas, saya mohon maaf, dan apabila ada pertanyaan yang mau disampaikan kepada saya persilahkan dan saya kembalikan kepada moderator. Terima kasih.
That is all my presentation and my convey for today. I hope my presentation could be an input and could make it clear and clarify your understanding. And I do apologize if there is a mistaken or some inappropriate words or saying that I've mentioned. I do apologize for that. And I would like to say thank you very much for your kind attention. And now I will give back to our moderator. Thank you for this opportunity for me.
Thank you very much for the presentation to Dr. Maria Kaban. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker has been presented the material. Dr. Maria Kaban explained about dispute and then the way to solve, and Runggun, Tangkap Dulu, Rakut Sitelu, and the implementation. So, ladies and gentlemen, now the time for the question and answer session. I would like to have 3 questions from the participant, and here there's no question in the chat box. Maybe the participant want to ask directly by raising hand. So I will allow for the participant to ask your question, please. All right, there is a question here from Eli Ekasari Ginting. Bertanya, saya sedang melakukan penelitian disertasi tentang perlindungan hak kekayaan intelektual atas pengobatan tradisional masyarakat Karo. Jadi yang menjadi pertanyaan saya, sekiranya belum ada perlindungan haki pengobatan tradisional Karo di secara hukum nasional dan Pemda atau Perda, apakah jika ada konflik kepemilikan tentang hak meneruskan usaha atas minyak Karo antar keturunan anak sebagai pewaris, bisa diselesaikan oleh Rakut Sitelu, atau selama ini sudah adakah seperti itu?
Okay, so I would like to translate that into English so that a non-Indonesian speaker can understand the questions. So I am from Eli Ekasari Ginting. I am doing a research on intellectual property rights, specifically about the traditional medication of Karonis people. My question is, if there is no intellectual property rights or protection for the Karonis traditional medicine in national law or nor in regional government or in a regional decree, and if there is a conflict of that ownership regarding about the rights to continue the business on the Karonis oil among the generation as the inheritance of the Karonis people, and could this case be solved in Rakut Sitelu, or is there any case similar like this before? Thank you. This is from Elika Sari.
Terima kasih. Pertanyaan yang diberikan oleh saudari Eli Ekasari Ginting, kalau saya tidak salah mendengar, aturan yang mengatur tentang pengobatan tradisional barangkali tadi ya, belum ada diatur dalam haki katanya. Apakah boleh diselesaikan melalui Rakut Sitelu?
So thank you very much for Miss Elika, and I believe that she's doing her dissertation for dissertation. And just in general, I can briefly understand the questions is about the regulation on the traditional medicine, especially for the Karonis oil, and could this be solved in Rakut Sitelu, right? And because there is no regulation concerning about this in the national law at the moment.
Saya akan menjawab sesuai dengan apa yang sudah
I will answer this according to what I have explained earlier.
Tadi lebih dahulu disampaikan.
I will answer this.
So
dengan sengketa.
I can mention it that Rakut Sitelu, like I mentioned it earlier, Rakut Sitelu can solve problems both related with dispute or problems related with non-dispute issues.
Sengketa-sengketa ini bisa berhubungan ya, dengan masalah adat, apalagi masalah kalau tidak salah ramuan Karo tadi. Jadi kalau sebagai kesimpulan dari jawaban ini, bisakah diselesaikan melalui Rakut Sitelu? Tentu bisa. Melihat dari bagan ini begitu luasnya cara penyelesaian yang dapat diselesaikan oleh Rakut Sitelu.
Also, the dispute, like I also mentioned, it could be related with the customary and also in this case with the traditional medicine of Karonis, traditional medicine or Karonis oil. And if you ask whether this case can be solved through Rakut Sitelu, my answer for this is yes, it can be resolved with the Rakut Sitelu, because Rakut Sitelu is the alternative dispute resolution, and it has a very wide charts, like you can see in the chart. It can has a very wide ways and method to solve the dispute.
Mungkin di sini saya tidak jelas tentang sengketa apa, hanya saya tahu dari ramuannya itu, tetapi untuk terjadinya kesepakatan ini tadi memerlukan Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, dan Anak Beru dari kedua belah pihak yang bersengketa. Begitu dia.
And also, I think I don't really get very specific about the case, and except this is about the Caronis oil herbs or formula. And I think in order to get agreement for this and to solve the problem on this case, it requires both from both parties, the Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, Senina, and Anak Beru from both parties, and they can sit together and have the deliberation. But both parties need to provide the Kalimbubu, Sembuyak, Senina, and Anak Beru.
Jadi kalau Saudari Eli Ekasari ini tadi sedang mengambil program S3, tadi kan bilang sehubungan dengan disertasinya, alangkah lebih baiknya lagi nanti ketika Eli nanti akan melakukan penelitian, hal ini juga sangat penting dilakukan karena mengingat memang ini kan ramuan karo, obat karo. Jadi apalagi ini namanya orang karo, tentu bisa melibatkan Rakut Sitelu apabila terjadi sengketa. Begitu dia.
And also, I would like to say to Miss Ellie, because you are doing your dissertation, it will be very good when you're doing your dissertation. You also need to include this Rakut Sitelu, because especially if it relates with the Caronis formula and Caronis traditional formula or Caronis oil, it will be very good if you can also include those Rakut Sitelu and those elements so that they can solve the dispute for this case.
Ya, karena harus juga diteliti penyebab dari sengketa itu apa. Karena bisa saja masalah iri. Misalnya yang sana laku obatnya, yang sebelah sini tidak laku obatnya misalnya. Maka ini kecemburuan. Nah ini nanti Eli sebagai sedang mengikuti program doktor, ini perlu ada pengklarifikasian tentang terjadinya sengketa.
And also, I would like to give a recommendation and suggestion to you, Miss Ellie. You need to find out the reason why there is a dispute or argument or maybe like a problem underneath this case, because it could be because of envy or jealousy from one party to another party. Maybe when they sell the Caronis traditional formula oil, maybe one person can sell more than the other party, right? So maybe they just because of the jealousy or maybe because they are envy from one another. So I think to go deeper in your doctoral program, you need to find out and elaborate more the reason why they have the case and why they have the dispute on this case.
Ya, motonya adalah Arih Ersada Muat si Menghuli. Jangan atur cantik ulah ribut.
Okay, so the motto is Ari Ersala Muat di Simula. So Simula Simuhuli. That means just be good and don't make any problems.
Baik, itu dulu jawaban yang pertama. Yang kedua adalah apakah kasus ini pernah terjadi di Karo?
So that would answer your first part of the question. And the second part of your question is like, has it ever done or exist before in the Caronis people?
Sepanjang yang saya ketahui ini memerlukan penelitian juga ini. Sepanjang yang saya ketahui, karena saya yang ditanya, kasus ini belum pernah saya dengar, tapi mungkin dulu ada. Ya, kalau sekarang ini yang sepanjang saya ketahui belum ada, Eli, tetapi ini mungkin jadi tugas Eli juga, kembali kepada Eli supaya nanti melihat kasus-kasus ini apakah pernah ada dan kemudian apakah bisa diselesaikan melalui Rakut Sitelu atau sampai ke lembaga litigasi.
So to answer the second part, whether this has occurred or have ever happened before in Caronese people, well, as far as I know, and of course it requires a research and dissertation as well, but as far as I know, that my understanding, it has never been before, and I have never heard a case like this before, but maybe it has happened long before. So that is why I think it also needs your effort to make a dissertation and make a research on this so that we know about the case. But I think even though if there's a case like this, Rakut Sitelu can solve this, but like I said earlier, I have never heard a case like this before in Caronese people.
Demikian yang bisa saya berikan jawabannya, Ellie.
I think that is all my answer. I hope it can answer your question, Miss Ellie.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Maria Kaban, for the answer. Because the time is according to the schedule, so I want to let the last one question for you, all participants. So if there is any question, you can ask it directly by raising hand or write your question in the chat box.
Any question? Masih ada pertanyaannya?
Okay, dear participant, is there any question for the last one? The last one question? Maybe all the participants already understand and very excited with your presentation, Dr. Maria Kaban. So I think they already understand about it.
Sepertinya sebenarnya sudah tidak ada pertanyaan lagi, Ibu. Mungkin paparan yang Ibu Maria Kaban berikan sudah sangat-sangat jelas dan mereka sangat memahami pemaparan yang telah Ibu berikan. Jadi saat ini dan juga berhubung waktu kita yang membatasi, saat ini tidak ada pertanyaan, Ibu.
Ya, kalau begitu saya bisa tutup.
So in that case I can close it.
Yes. Baiklah, terima kasih atas kesempatan yang sudah bersama-sama kita ikuti dari awal sampai akhir. Mudah-mudahan berkenan di hati anak-anak kami, mahasiswa-mahasiswi yang masih mungkin mendengar ataupun teman-teman yang hadir dalam ruang Zoom ini. Saya mengucapkan terima kasih. Kalau ada kurang dan lebih, saya mohon maaf. Dan karena yang sempurna itu adalah milik Tuhan. Terima kasih. Sampai ketemu di lain kesempatan.
So at the end, as a closing words from me, I would like to say thank you very much for all your attendance and all your participation, for all the participant audience, their students and colleagues. And hopefully what I have mentioned and what I have conveyed and present here will be an insightful for you and will be a gives benefit for you and beneficial for you. And thank you for you, ladies and gentlemen, who are here in Zoom meeting. Thank you very much for your kind participation. Once again, more or less, if there is a mistake or inappropriate words that is not appropriate for you or maybe inappropriate for you, I do apologize for that, and because I think the perfection only belongs to God. So last but not least, thank you very much for your attendance, and I would like to say thank you very much. May peace be upon us all.
Okay, thank you very much once again to Dr. Maria Kaban for the great presentation and already shared the knowledge with us. Terima kasih Ibu sudah memberikan pemahaman yang sangat luar biasa kepada kami seluruh partisipan. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, finally we are come to the end of the session. Before closing the lecture, I want to ask all of the participants to turn your camera on to take a group photo. So I would let all the participants to turn your camera. Okay, the administrator, please take the photo. 1, 2, 3. Once again, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to thank for the speaker, Dr. Maria Kaban. Thank you very much, Dr. Maria Kaban, for the informative and interesting presentation. And I want to say thank you very much for all the participants for the active participation. Finally, applaud to the speaker and all of you. Thank you very much. I will look forward to see you at the next lecture on Wednesday, 27 July 2022. I wish all of you a pleasant day. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, terima kasih, terima kasih, terima kasih. Bujur kita Rina, bujur, kita Rina.
Thank you very much, Bujur. Great presentation.
Terima kasih, Dek.